Welcome back, everybody. Excited to have you join us for another deep dive. This one's really cool because we're continuing our exploration into the work of Coach Richard Cameron. This is actually part 3 in our series on him.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about Coach Cameron is, his insights come from over 20 years of working with a diverse range of people.
Absolutely.
We're talking Olympians, everyday folks. You really get a broad perspective on what it takes to achieve vitality and peak performance.
It's not just theory. It's that real-world experience.
Yeah.
And today we're tackling this concept that Coach Cameron calls the illusion of health.
Mm.
It's this idea that despite all the medical advancements we have, chronic diseases are still on the rise. It almost seems like a paradox, doesn't it?
It really does, and I think that's why Coach Cameron's work is so compelling. He's pushing us to look beyond the surface, really understand the deeper mechanisms at play.
Okay, so let's dive in. One of the first things that Coach Cameron highlights is our obsession with quick fixes. Crash diets, extreme workouts, the latest weight loss drug, that desire for instant results. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's totally understandable, right? We live in a world that's constantly telling us to be faster, better, thinner. But the problem is, when it comes to health, this quick fix mentality often backfires.
Right.
It's almost like building a house on a shaky foundation. It might look good at first, but it's not going to last.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, how does Coach Cameron explain this backfiring in practical terms? What are some of the consequences he's observed?
Well, he talks about people who might lose weight rapidly but end up sacrificing muscle mass in the process, or, those who manage to lower their blood sugar, but then they develop new deficiencies because they're not absorbing nutrients properly. It's like they're winning one battle but losing the war.
So even when we see those initial positive changes, there might be hidden costs. We're not addressing the root causes, just kind of masking the symptoms.
Yeah, exactly. And this leads us to another point Coach Cameron emphasizes, which is the idea that we're overfed but undernourished.
Right.
So how can that be possible when we have access to more food than ever before?
Yeah, that is mind-boggling to me. How can we be overfed and undernourished at the same time? Are we just eating the wrong things?
Well, that's a big part of it. Our modern food landscape is dominated by processed, packaged foods that are often calorie-rich, but nutrient poor. So we might be filling our stomachs, but our cells are starving for the essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants they need to function optimally.
So even if we're making an effort to choose healthy options, like opting for a salad instead of a burger, we might still be missing out on crucial nutrients.
Yeah, it's a real possibility. You see, it's not just about the food choices themselves, it's also about the quality of the food. And unfortunately, modern farming practices have depleted our soil of many vital nutrients. So even if you're eating fruits and vegetables, they might not be as nutrient-packed as they were a few decades ago.
Wow, that's concerning. I had no idea soil depletion could have such a significant impact on the nutritional value of our food.
Yeah, it's a complex issue, and it highlights the importance of understanding where our food comes from and how it's grown.
Right.
Coach Cameron really encourages people to think beyond the supermarket shelves and reconnect with the source of their nourishment.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of complex issues, there's been a lot of buzz lately about GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy for weight loss. People are seeing pretty dramatic results. What's Coach Cameron's take on these new medications?
Well, he acknowledges that these drugs can be effective for weight loss in the short term, but he cautions against viewing them as a magic bullet.
Right.
His concern is that they don't address the underlying metabolic issues that are often at the root of weight gain and chronic disease.
So they're not getting to the heart of the problem.
Right.
Just sort of sidestepping it.
That's a good way to put it. And there are some potential downsides to consider as well. So one concern is that these GLP-1 drugs primarily target appetite regulation. They don't address the underlying metabolic imbalances, like insulin resistance or mitochondrial dysfunction, which are often driving weight gain and other health issues.
So it's like they're hitting the pause button on hunger, but not fixing the broken machinery, so to speak.
Precisely. And there's the potential for muscle loss, especially if someone is drastically reducing their food intake without addressing the nutritional deficiencies that might already be present.
And if someone's already struggling with nutrient absorption, like we talked about earlier, wouldn't eating even less just exacerbate that problem?
Absolutely. It's a delicate balance. And these medications, while promising in some respects, don't offer a comprehensive solution. Coach Cameron really emphasizes the importance of addressing the root causes, not just chasing symptoms.
That makes a lot of sense. So if quick fixes and these new drugs aren't the answer, what is? What does Coach Cameron propose as a sustainable solution?
He shifts the focus from superficial results to the foundation of true well-being, cellular health.
Okay, let's unpack that. What exactly does cellular health mean in this context?
It's all about recognizing that our bodies are made up of trillions of cells, and each one of those cells needs the right nutrients to function properly. Think of it like this. If you're building a house, you need strong, high-quality bricks. In the same way, if you want a healthy body, you need to nourish your cells with the building blocks they need to thrive.
So it's about more than just eating healthy foods in general. It's about making sure those foods are actually providing the specific nutrients our cells need.
Exactly, and those nutrients include vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, essential fatty acids, all the things that allow our cells to produce energy, repair themselves, and communicate effectively with each other.
And when our cells are functioning optimally, what kind of impact does that have on our overall health and well-being?
Well, for starters, you'll likely experience increased energy and vitality. Your metabolism will be more efficient, meaning you'll be better able to burn fuel and maintain a healthy weight naturally without relying on restrictive diets or quick fixes.
That's appealing. Who doesn't want more energy and a healthy metabolism? What about mental clarity and focus? Does cellular health play a role there as well?
Absolutely. Our brains are incredibly complex organs, and they rely on a steady supply of nutrients to function properly. When we nourish our cells, we're essentially providing our brains with the fuel they need to operate at peak performance.
So it's not just about physical health, it's about mental sharpness and cognitive function too. What about our immune system? Does cellular health factor into that equation?
It's essential. A strong immune system is our first line of defense against illness and disease. And our immune cells, just like any other cells in our bodies, need proper nourishment to do their job effectively.
This is all starting to paint a really compelling picture. But I have to admit, it can feel a bit overwhelming. If someone wants to start prioritizing cellular health, where do they even begin?
I think a good starting point is to focus on incorporating whole nutrient-dense foods into your diet. Think about eating the rainbow, a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables to ensure you're getting a wide spectrum of nutrients. Choose lean proteins, healthy fats, and minimize processed foods as much as possible.
That sounds like solid advice.
Yeah.
What about supplements? Do they have a place in a cellular health approach?
Supplements can definitely be beneficial, especially if you're not getting all the nutrients you need from your diet alone. But it's important to be discerning. Not all supplements are created equal. You want to look for high-quality products from reputable companies that are backed by scientific research.
I know Coach Cameron has spoken about USANA Health Sciences in the past. Are there products designed with this cellular health approach in mind?
Yes, they are. USANA has a strong focus on cellular nutrition. They've invested heavily in research and development to create formulations that deliver targeted nutrients to support cellular function at a fundamental level.
So they've done a lot of the legwork in terms of identifying those key nutrients and ensuring their products are effective.
They have, and their commitment to quality control and scientific validation is something that Coach Cameron respects. Of course, it's always important to do your own research and consult with a healthcare professional to determine what's right for your individual needs.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one more piece of the puzzle that I'm eager to explore. Coach Cameron's concept of proportional physical activity. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah.
So this is where it gets really interesting to me. We've talked about nourishing our cells from the inside out, but Coach Cameron also emphasizes the importance of movement, something he calls proportional physical activity. What's the thinking behind that concept?
Yeah, it's fascinating how he ties this all in. Coach Cameron's view is that exercise shouldn't be seen as like a punishment or a chore, you know?
Right.
It's about finding ways to move our bodies that support our overall health and well-being. And what's proportional for one person might be very different for another.
So it's not about following a generic workout plan or pushing ourselves to extremes.
Not at all. Coach Cameron stresses that our movement should be tailored to our individual needs and goals. Someone recovering from an injury, for example, will need a different approach than an athlete training for a competition. It's about listening to our bodies and finding what feels right.
Yeah, that resonates with me. I think a lot of us get caught up in that no pain, no gain mentality, but maybe that's not always the healthiest approach.
Exactly. Coach Cameron talks about how movement should be a celebration of what our bodies can do, not a form of punishment for what we ate or how we look.
I love that reframing. So how does this concept of proportional physical activity tie into the bigger picture of cellular health that we've been discussing?
Well, when we engage in physical activity, we're essentially challenging ourselves in a positive way. This challenge triggers a cascade of adaptations that make our cells stronger and more resilient. It's like giving our cells a workout, too.
So it's not just about building muscle or burning calories. It's
Yeah.
actually happening at a deeper level within our cells.
That's right. And just like our muscles grow stronger when we lift weights, our cells become more efficient at utilizing energy, repairing themselves, and even fighting off disease.
Wow, that's amazing to think about. Exercise is literally transforming us at the cellular level.
It is. And when we combine this understanding of movement with the principles of cellular nutrition that we talked about earlier, we create a powerful synergy that amplifies our health and well-being in profound ways.
So it's this holistic approach, nourishing our cells from the inside out and challenging them through movement. That creates the foundation for true vitality.
That's the essence of Coach Cameron's message. It's not about quick fixes or extreme measures. It's about building a sustainable lifestyle that supports our body's natural ability to thrive.
This has been an incredibly eye-opening deep dive. As we wrap up, what's the key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
I think Coach Cameron challenges us to reject the illusion of health. That idea that we can simply mask symptoms or rely on quick fixes. True health, he argues, starts at the cellular level. It's about nourishing our cells, challenging them through movement, and making choices that support our well-being in the long run.
It's about taking a proactive, holistic approach to our health, rather than just reacting to problems as they arise.
Precisely. And I love that Coach Cameron leaves us with a question to ponder. If you could optimize your cellular health, what aspects of your life would you expect to see positive changes in? It's an invitation to envision a future where we're not just surviving, but truly thriving.
That's such a powerful question. And I encourage everyone listening to explore Coach Cameron's work further. There's a wealth of wisdom to discover. Perhaps delve deeper into cellular nutrition or look into USANA's approach to cellular health. Remember, the best version of you is built at the cellular level.
And the journey starts today.